All right, y'all. Same thing as yesterday. There's only one of y'all now. Ty. I'm gonna wait till 10:35. And here's the warm-up. So I'll unmute everybody at 10. Good morning, everybody. I'll unmute y'all at 10:35. Here's the warm-up. All right, so again, just going to do like we did before, and this is going to be routine. I'm going to wait till 10:35, give people a chance to get here, and then I'll unmute everybody, and then we'll go over the warm-up. All right, y'all, about 2-3 more minutes. Okay. We'll go over the warm-up, and all righty, getting a whole bunch of people coming in now. Okay, about 2 minutes, and I'll unmute y'all, and we'll start going over the warm-up. Again, this is going to be typical. We got 9 of y'all so far. So about another minute, and I'll unmute y'all. Bryce, number 1 is correct. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and unmute everybody now. I'm recording this. All right, so just keep that in mind. This is gonna go on YouTube. I forgot to record first period, so you guys are now gonna be the representation. All right, so I am unmuting everybody. And voila, how y'all doing out there? Bryce, I think that's probably you. No, Donnie. Donnie, number 2 is correct. All right, so while y'all have a little more time and make sure everybody gets here, I sent everybody a missive yesterday, a 3-page PDF, just about detailing what the heck. I'm working on the assumption that we're not going to be coming back to the classroom for the rest of the year. That may change. Things are kind of moving kind of rapidly out there, so I don't know. But let's base what we do on the worst case scenario. So according to the district, the final grade that I give students has to be A, B, C, or pass. Okay, so just verbally letting y'all know. I don't know any more than you do about the long term. Just sharing you where things are at right now. Okay, let me check. A couple people said a few things. So let's see. Trinity, correct, number 3, and Bryce also correct, number 3. All right, so I'll wait another minute and then we'll start going over the warm up. Donnie, number 4 is correct. Hey, hopefully you guys are okay with these by now, huh? all this review percentages. I was watching this doctor from England, John, what is his name? John, I can't remember his name, but he was giving statistics on the COVID in England and showing all kinds of graphs and stuff and numbers and percentages were all over the place. So just throwing that out there. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and stop the share and we'll go ahead and go over that. How y'all doing? All right. So I am multitasking here. Got my cell phone with the problems on it so I can see. So, is what percent? That's what, again, that means. Now, what you can do is divide. So if you divide top by bottom, you get this decimal, and then you can move the decimal 2 places. That's one way you can do this. Remember, is this, okay? Oops, guess I moved things a little bit. Sorry about that. I'm trying to pay attention to text messages too, y'all. All right, so then you do this, and so you get 81.25%. That's the number per 100. That's why we write this symbol, okay? Because we want to say that this is really this fraction, so we just write that symbol instead of writing the fraction. All right, and now we can use number 2. So 10 is equals 5%, 0.05 of what number? So we can solve that. All right. Anybody want to say what that is? Okay, it's 200. A couple of y'all texted that earlier. Now the next one, what number? So X, we don't know what that number is. What number is, so equals 15%, so 0.15, 15% of 250, so we multiply. Now again, notice I'm using the shortcuts here. I think we've gotten to the point to where we might as well just use shortcuts. Right? Anybody want to state what that is? A couple of y'all texted it to me. Okay. No big deal. It is kind of awkward, but I'm glad you guys are here. Kind of makes this insanity a little easier, honestly, y'all. 4. Okay. Now this is where we have, starting with number 4, the percentage of increases and decrease stuff, right? So this semester in the beginning, we learned the growth factor. So we have another way of doing this. All right. So you get a 12% discount on a stereo that normally costs 120. We'll do this the old way. So we're going to take off from that 120, 12% of 120. You could do that. That'll work. Or you could use the growth factor, 1 minus, because it's a decrease, and then you multiply this to 120. So this would be 0.8. All right, so again, what does that mean? This means we have 88% left. So if we take off 12%, we're going to have 88% left. So 88% left of the original. So if you understand it, you can go straight to here. Notice that's the growth factor times the 120. Okay, and that would be 105.6. And then 5, now we're talking about an increase, we're talking about tax, right? So we got the car, that was 15,000. Somebody just joined. All right, Billy, good to see you can make it. I guess it worked for you, that's awesome. So we got the 15,000. And so we want to increase that by 8.75%, right? So this is, oh, you guys probably can't see that backwards, huh? Oh, yeah, you can. This is what I'm looking at. Those of y'all who came a little late. Okay. So then we're going to increase this by 8.75%. Right? Okay, now we can also use the growth factor. So since this is an increase, we can create our growth factor 1 plus 0.0875 and then multiply. All right, and that would be 16,312.5. All right, so this is what's good about the growth factor, because you can just do 1 plus 0.0875 and then times 15,000 and boom, just like that, much quicker. Okay, and the last problem was this one. So the revenue in 2015 was 400,000. In 2016, the revenue increased by 450,000. What was the percent of increase? So notice we're going to do the new minus the original, and we're going to divide by the original, which was 400,000. All right, so 450,000 minus 400,000, and then divide by the original. And this is what we want to be our percent. So it equals some number over 100, right? So notice we increased our revenue by $50,000. So originally we had 400,000. The next year we increased by 50,000. So this would be 50,000 over 400,000, which is 1/8. And then you can just calculate this. So this should be 12.5%. Okay. So I'll wait a moment. And, let me see, did anybody text me anything new? Nope. Okay, so we're going to look at the homework in a moment. And then today we're going to look at two things. One's called a stem and leaf diagram, which is helpful when you're organizing numbers. And the second thing is called the frequency table, which is helpful when you want to organize a whole bunch of numbers into categories. I'm going to wait another minute. And again, if y'all need anything, just send me a text, or if you're not shy, you can just say something out loud, no big deal. And okay, I'm gonna go ahead and share screen for the PowerPoint. We'll look at the, what am I trying to say? We'll look at the solutions to the homework, right? Okay, so you have access to this, right? And notice I'm putting the date on top for y'all, so it's a little easier for you to kind of follow a little bit. And give me a second, I'm moving my text boxes around so I can see this stuff. So you can see all the solutions. So I posted these, the PowerPoint and this on the same post where I put the Zoom link. So again, that's what I'm doing every morning, and today it was a little earlier than 8. All right, so I guess once you got the numbers here, that was probably a little more challenging, and that was where you had average, and the average that they gave you was based upon the number of computers that they also told you. So I'm trying to do two things at once, sorry. So you had 12 iPads that are average of 15.1, and then you had 8 Kindles that had an average of 4.8. So to get the total length, you would multiply 12 times the average, and then to get the total width or length, you would multiply 8 times the average, right? Now, the second part, which was a little trickier, the second part, or the third part rather, C, what's the mean width of these 12 iPads and 8 Kindles? Well, you got the total width of each for A and B. So to get the total of the 20 computers or things combined, digital devices combined, you would add the totals and then divide by 20. Okay, now I'm just going to assume a few things here. So some of the problems here, I'm just going to assume the ones I need to explain, but just let me know if there's another one that I don't explain that you need. Now, 9 was a little tricky because what the information they gave you was not the raw set of numbers. They gave you what's called grouped data. So the intervals of weight, right, that they give you, and then they told you how many computers there were within each interval. So we know that there's 8 computers that weighed 3 to 5 pounds. We know there was 25 computers that weighed 5 to 7 pounds. And we know there was 45 computers that weighed 7 to 9 pounds, and so forth with the 18, 9 to 11 pounds. And the same with the 4, there were 4 computers between 11 and 13 pounds. The problem with this, if we want to find the mean, we don't have raw numbers. We can't just add a bunch of numbers and divide by how many there are. We know there's 100 computers. They told you. If you added this third column, you would get 100. So we know we got to divide by 100. But what do we get for the top? Well, we got to associate each of these intervals with a single number. And so what's the best number? The midpoint, the number in the middle. All right, so 4 would be in the middle of 3 and 5, 6 in the middle of 5 and 7, 8 in the middle of 7 and 9, 10 in the middle of 9 and 11, right? So 12 in the middle of 11 and 13. So each of these groups we're going to associate with a single number. That way we can multiply. So 4 times 8, 6 times 25, 8 times 45, 10 times 18, 12 times 4, and then we add up all that and divide by 100. Right? We have no choice. We don't know what the exact numbers are, so we have to use a best estimate for each group, and that's the midpoint, the middle number. Okay? Is that all right? Okay, I guess you guys are good because you can see. That's cool. Now, you can see that the formula that we use is helpful. For 11, you can see where the middle is, right, after you organize the numbers. So, but 12, you don't even know what the numbers are. You know there's 23 seats, and you want to be in the middle seat. So you just want to find the position of the middle. Okay, so what's the position of the middle of these 23 seats? Well, this is where the n plus 1 divided by 2 comes in handy. So 23 plus 1 divided by 2, 24 divided by 2, 12. So you want to sit in the 12th chair, and you will be in the middle of this row of 23 seats. All right? And there'll probably be somebody sitting in that chair, so be polite. Now, another one that I thought was tricky was 14. So 14, they gave you 4 choices. And they told you what's true for these 4 choices was they all started with 32. And now you want to pick the one of these 4 choices that has a median of 5.
Thank you for calling Trend.
Well, since the median is going to be in the middle of the second and third number for all of these. You just got to pick which one has a median of 35, and that would be C. The median would be 35. For A, the median would be 34. B, the median would be 36.5. And C, the median would be 36. Okay? All right, and again, notice that the number 15 got a lot of numbers. You had to organize a whole lot of numbers. So it's a lot more challenging. Yes, you turn in homework through email. Send it to Gmail, Trinity. Just take a picture, send it to Gmail. All right? Now, 16 and 17 might have been a little challenge because qualitative and quantitative. Okay? So what's the difference between these two? Quantitative data is data that's based upon numerical values, like the word quantity. Quantity is how many you have, the amount of something. It's a numerical value. Whereas qualitative data is based upon non-numerical value or characteristics, right? Like the color of your hair, color of your eyes. Right? So quantitative data is numerical value. You can add the numbers and divide by how many you are. You can also put the numbers in order and find the middle. And you can also find the most frequent number. So qualitative
your headphones on.
Has a mean, median, and a mode. But qualitative data is not.
But where is the message? I'm sorry,
Because
the message.
how can you find a mean if you got no number?
Can you hear this?
Qualitative data is non-numerical. How can you find the middle? What's the middle color of eyes? Makes no sense. But you can find the frequent color of eyes, the most frequent color. So you can have a mode for qualitative data, and that's it. Okay, now I know you guys can see a good bit of this. So then there was the last couple. Notice that to find the mode for the last bit here, I just
Hey, I know.
Let's see the frequency, which is these tally marks, and so that enabled you to find the mode. Okay, and so if you have two modes, that's called bimodal, right?
You should really stop speaking out loud because he has me on.
What's that?
Because he has me on what is on microphone. So you should really stop speaking out loud. And it's not connected, so I don't know how much you could hear that.
Joshua, I can mute everybody if that's easier for
You
you.
can go, Josh. I'll go to the living room.
Yeah, you can mute yourself too. You want me to mute you, Josh?
If you use those headsets, can you hear?
Wait, what?
Can you hear with those headsets?
Yes, I could hear now.
Okay.
It's fine.
I have another headset.
I'm sorry, I'm here. Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine.
But I can give you.
Thanks for letting me know. Okay, anything else on the homework you're not sure about? Anybody not sure about? Let me take a sip of tea. And so we're going to look at two things today. We're going to look at something called the stem and leaf display that helps us organize data, and then we're going to look at how to make a frequency.
But what about for?
Anybody ever heard of a stem and leaf display? Anybody, any one of y'all ever heard of a stem and leaf display? Okay, that's good to hear. Okay, so two of y'all.
Yeah, but it's campus specific, not transfer.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and go back to the
Yeah, what is that?
Stem and leaf display is when you organize a bunch of numbers.
Sounds like the communication to their
Stem leaf display is. So let me
I think we go, so just to be 100% sure, can you apply golden 4? Would it be safe to just say Berkeley for the college 11 site specifically, say the message And then for the messaging on UC Irvine and UC Riverside, what did they say? I have to go back.
Okay, so right here, this is a diagram that tells us how we're going to organize these numbers. We're going to organize these numbers based upon the tens place. All right. This vertical line kind of tells you how we're going to split the numbers. Now, usually people will just give you 45 or vertical line 5. They'll give you something like this. So they'll tell you we're going to put the tens place on the left and the ones place on the right. That's what this notation is. Okay? And they don't usually give you the verbal. They usually just give you this number thing. Now, this is helpful because if you got a lot of numbers, you know, like that's 30 numbers on the homework, that takes a little while to organize. You can make a mistake. So here, what we're going to do is we're going to quickly group the numbers, and then we can put them in order. Right? I'm going to go ahead and stop the share and go over how to do that.
Okay.
Before I do that,
the email that I received from them, I can forward it to you, Lucy, but it doesn't address. It doesn't address.
Notice that we got
I
90.
don't know why every time I type in it goes Noven.
So we don't have a single digit number, and we don't have a 3-digit number. So we're going to go from 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. Okay? So let me stop the share. And okay, so go ahead and what I just pointed out, we're going to organize those numbers.
Yeah. So the message was, I can tell you that as of now, Irvine and Riverside have
We're going to go 1,
to not pass
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
grades in major prep, but nothing on. Okay, so we can just say
okay.
UC system-wide. There has no confirmation that they.
I had to mute you, Josh, because I could see how that might interfere with people. But just text messaging when you want me to unmute you. Okay, send me a text. So here we're going to have 1 for the tens place, 2 for the 20 place, 3 for the 30 place, and so forth, and so 90s. Okay, and this is going to be the tens place. Now, as we go through these numbers one by one, we're just going to write the ones digit to the right of the tens place digit. All right, so our first two numbers are 94 and 91, and then 23. So 94, 91, and then 23. Okay, notice we're just writing the ones digit. All right, and then the next numbers we have here are 56, 46, and 76. So 56, 46, and 76. Okay, and then I'll just finish it from there. So 13, 40, 99, 28, 81, 95, 29, 43, 10. Okay, so I just did the last couple numbers there. Oh, darn it. All right, there you go. Okay, so this is helpful because we can organize this. Mm-hmm. This means we got 10 and 13. This means we got 23, 28, 29. And then we got 40, 43, and 46. Notice how easily you can organize them now. 56, 76, 81. And then you got 91, 94, 95, 98. Okay? Okay, is everybody okay with that? Anybody want me to explain anything? Okay. These are called the leaves. Called the stem. Okay, let me wait a minute. Thanks for the confirmation, Zach and Donnie. Okay, we're going to finish up with making a frequency table. The last thing we're going to look at today. We're going to look at making a frequency table. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and share a screen now. Okay, so you can see now we have these numbers. Okay, and what these are, this is data from the Department of Transportation in 2000. This represents the average gas mileage for each person that lives in that state. So over a month. So over a month, on average, this is how many miles people drive on average in these states. That's what that is. So California, on average, people who live in the state travel about 422 miles per month. All right, so you can see that's what all these are. Okay, we got to organize this data. So we got to figure out how to pick the groups that we're going to use to organize this data. All right, so the first thing we want to do is figure out what is the maximum number and what is the minimum number. What is the biggest number and what is the smallest number? Okay, anybody want to offer? Anybody see what the biggest number is? Anybody want to see what the biggest number is? Which one of these 50 numbers is the biggest number? All right, so we're all looking at this. I think it's Tennessee. TN. Anybody see anything bigger than that? All right, again, 12 hours are better than 1, right? So I guess we're good. TN, right? Terra Nova. Woohoo! Of course, we're the biggest number. So 586.58. That's Tennessee. Yeah, so don't get too excited. All right, what about the smallest number? Anybody see what the smallest number is? Okay, well, I think it's North Carolina. And that just kind of goes to show you, people are poor in the South, especially North Carolina. It's a pretty big state, but on average citizen travels less miles than Vermont. Vermont's tiny. So I think it's an indication of the poverty in North Carolina. That's speculation. All right, so now we got the smallest number, 296.66. Okay, so I'm going to stop the share. And anybody want to calculate that? I'm going to do it on my calculator. All right. No, I did it earlier. Anybody want to offer up? What is that? What are we going to get when we subtract this? Okay, I know you guys can do this. So I don't know if you can see that, but probably not. Or maybe it can, but 29.92 is correct. Exactly, fellas. And Trinity, yes. Okay, so that's what we got. So that means we got a width of value here. That's called the range. So we got a width of value here, and that's the width of value. Well, how many categories do we want to break this up? 5, 8, 20. Let's go ahead and make 10 categories. So let's divide this by 10. Right? So that's going to be 28.9 roughly. We don't have to be exact because we're just using this to get a good sense of how wide to make the categories. Right? So we need the width to be at least 28.9 if we want to make our 10 categories and be able to fill out this space. So let's go ahead and round this up to 30. right? That way we can get some even numbers. It makes this easier because we're just trying to organize the data, okay? So we're going to go by 30. Now, if we're going to go by 30, we're going to start from the smallest number and then go up by 30 until we get to the biggest number. But these numbers are kind of, not easy to use. So let's go ahead and round down to 290. That way it's a lot easier to add 30, right? And we'll still be able to have a way to organize these numbers. Okay, so we're going to start at 290 and then go up by 30. Or if you want to start up here, 290, and then go down by 30, depending on how you want to do that. No big deal. Right, let me do that instead. Okay, so now I'm going to add 30. To 320. If y'all catch a mistake, just let me know. Let me see if anybody texts. Nope. Anybody coming in new? Let me just double check, y'all. Yeah, okay, so we're all good. All 12 of us. All right, so I'm adding 30. Okay, now all we got to do is get up to where we can contain this big number. So keeping adding 30. All right, so we stop at 590. Now, since 590 is the last number, right, and we're going to stop at 590 because that's bigger than the biggest number, so we're good. What we're going to do with the 590, we're going to put that as the biggest number in the last category. So this bottom category, this would be all the numbers from 560 to 590. That's what that means. So if the number is 560 and all the way to 590, anywhere in between, that's this category. So now we're going to go back up and create the second numbers. Well, since 560 is here, if we go one back, this would be 559. Okay? And so the same thing here. So this is 530. So if we go back to this category, we would go to 529. So just subtracting 1. 530 minus 1 is 529. 560 minus 1 is 559. Okay, so that's basically the next thing we're going to do as you go all the way up. So just subtract 1, so 499. This is 470, so 469. This is 440, so 439. This is 410, so 409. This is 380, so 379. This is 350, so 349. This is 320, so 319. Okay, now we got our categories. Now, we could have just arbitrarily picked a number. Like maybe we decide, let's go by 50. Maybe we decide, let's go by 40s. We could have just did it that way, okay? But if we do it this way, it's a little more mathematical. So if somebody asks you, well, why are you going by 30s? You said, well, I wanted to create 10 categories, and we just subtracted these two numbers divided by 10 and rounded up. No one can argue with that. No one can, right? So this is considered to be unbiased for that reason, because we have a mathematical reasoning of process that we can justify, as opposed to just picking a number out of your head like 100. Okay, now the next thing we want to do is make our tally marks. Okay, we're almost finished. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and share the screen. All right, so this first four, we got 54, 71, 43.08, right? So 54.71, that's going to go in between 530 and 559. 433.08, that's going to go in between 410 and 439. 452.8, 452.8, that's going to go in between 440 and 469. And then 532.96, 500, 32.96. That's going to go in between 530 and 559. And I'll just finish up with California. So California, 422. It's going to go in between 410 and 439. And then you just would do the same for the rest of these. Okay, so this is what that means. Is that okay? I mean, I didn't finish it. You guys will probably be bored with me going through the next 45 states. Anybody have any questions about that? This is one more point I want to make. Okay, well, these tally marks are very helpful, right? Because humans, we tend to only be able to hold 5 numbers in our head at one time. And people speculate that's because we got 5 fingers, all right? So if we wanted to go ahead and mark 5, we just do that. And the reason that's helpful is because say you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Can you look at that and see that's 13? No one's going to be able to do that. If you do, you're a genius. I suggest you contact some tech industry. But we have to count, and you might miscount. So if we wanted to write 13, we could do it this way. And everyone, oh, that's 13, like that, quick. So that's why people use those tally marks. Okay, does anybody have any issues or questions about anything? All right, so while I wait for that, just again, take pictures of what you do, send it to me to Gmail, and that's how we'll do this. If you have any questions or issues about anything, just send something to Gmail. I'll get around to it. I'm not checking my email until after 2 today, though. So, okay. I'm gonna go ahead and check out in a minute. I'll leave this open so if y'all want to chat with each other or whatever. That's a lot of phone calls. I feel it though. Rough. All right, y'all take care. I'll see y'all next week.